Viewers, as you can see, we are currently on the PandaVPN homepage. Upon landing here, a limited time offer pop-up appeared. Let's go ahead and close that. At first glance, there don't seem to be many complex options on the main site. If we navigate to the My Account tab, we find three basic options: My Account, Change Password, and Sign Out. Inside the My Account section, we first see the account information. Below that, if you have purchased a subscription through a code, there is a redemption code field where you can redeem it. Next, we see the device number section. It indicates a total of 3 devices. If you want to manage or update your devices, you can click on Device Management. By selecting Add Devices, you'll be directed to a payment page where you can choose a plan to increase your device limit. Further down, there are sections for Add Devices and Custom Server. For those needing high bandwidth performance, you can pay for a 1-month high bandwidth server plan. Usually, when we look at a VPN control panel, we expect advanced configurations for protocols like SOCKS, WireGuard, or OpenVPN. However, we don't see those options here. It seems PandaVPN lacks a detailed management panel found in some other VPN services. Scrolling down, we find an invitation code and a referral link. You also have the option to invite friends via email. That covers everything in this section. Now let's go to the Download Center. We can see that PandaVPN is available for Windows, macOS, iOS for iPhones, Android, Linux, and Android TV. The website outlines 3 simple steps: sign up and subscribe, download and install, then connect. There's also a frequently asked questions section available for troubleshooting. Since we already have a subscription, we'll download it for PC. We'll click the download button for Windows. Similarly, if you use a Mac, iOS or Android, you can download the respective versions here, either through Google Play or via direct download. A QR code is also provided for quick mobile downloads. Linux and Android TV users can also find their download links right here. Our download is now complete. Let's go ahead and open the setup file to begin the installation. Let's open the file and begin the installation. The process is starting now. I'll go ahead and install it here. As you can see, once you've downloaded the .exe file, simply double-click to open it, and just like that, the installation is complete. Once the setup is finished, the application will launch automatically. As soon as the VPN opens, you'll see a login screen like this. It requires your digital account number and a password. If you're wondering where to find your account number, you can see it right here in the account information section. You can also log in using your email address if you prefer. I'll proceed by entering my account number and password. Once that's done, click Sign In. After signing in, a notification may appear saying your membership is about to expire. Please renew your membership. My current membership is set to expire on the 24th, and since today is the 20th, it's giving me an early reminder. On the main interface, you'll see the Smart Connect option. It has already established a connection automatically as soon as the app opened. Now let's visit hua.net to verify our connection. You can see that while our DNS points to India, we are successfully connected to Philadelphia, United States. However, the anonymity level is only at 70%, which isn't ideal. Personally, I'm not quite satisfied with this level of privacy. Under Smart Mode, you'll find several options like Global Mode, Secure VPN, PandaVPN, and others. At the bottom, there is the WireGuard option, which I believe is the best choice for a stable connection. If your primary goal is streaming, you should use the encrypted proxy social and streaming option. For this demonstration, I'll select WireGuard. Once WireGuard is selected, a list of recommended servers will appear. These are generally the most reliable. Let's test a server in the Africa zone, specifically Egypt. I'll connect to the Cairo server. It shows as connected now, So let's refresh Hua to see if our location has updated. It has successfully changed to Cairo, Egypt. While the anonymity level initially looked better, it eventually settled back at 70%. This still isn't the perfect result I was hoping for. Finally, let's check the connection speed on Windows. We'll also perform a speed test on a mobile device later. Let's click Go and see what kind of performance we're getting with this setup.
Let's start by resizing the window a bit. We are going to test the speed across several different servers, so it's better to have them side by side for a clearer view. I'll place it right here. This layout will make the testing process much more efficient. Let's extend it vertically to see the full list. As you can see, the speed test hasn't started yet, which suggests there might be a slight connection delay. Okay, it's finally starting. Let's observe the performance. So far, the download speed is climbing, reaching around 50 to 60 Mbps. That's actually not bad at all. It's quite decent. We have a wide variety of servers available here, covering regions like Africa, including South Africa, Egypt, and more. The download speed peaked at around 77 Mbps. Now looking at the upload speed, it's honestly quite disappointing. It's only hovering around 5 or 6 Mbps, which is very poor. In my opinion, this is completely unacceptable. It's barely pushing past 10 or 12 Mbps. This level of performance is quite subpar. Now let's switch things up and try a server in the United States. I'll select this one and check its performance. But first, let's verify the IP status on Hua.net. As you can see, it's still showing my local IP, meaning it hasn't connected yet. Let me try connecting again. The application seems to be struggling a bit to establish a connection, which isn't a very good sign. It seems it's not connecting to some of these servers. Let's try switching to Smart Mode and then attempt the connection again. I'll try the Ashburn server this time. It's connecting now. Let's reload the page. It's taking a moment to load. There we go. We are now connected to a US IP. However, the security score is showing only 70%, which is considered moderate. Not ideal, but let's move forward and run the speed test on this server. The video is getting a bit long, and while I always try to keep things brief, it's important to show the details thoroughly. Sometimes a bit more time is needed to provide a complete picture. Alright, the speed test has officially started. On this server, the speed is significantly better. We're already hitting nearly 200 Mbps. Now it's climbing even higher, surpassing 250 and reaching nearly 300 Mbps. This is an excellent result for the Ashburn server. Now let's look at the upload speed. It's also performing much better than the previous test. We're getting over 220 Mbps here. It seems using Smart Mode is definitely the way to go if you want to gain better bandwidth. Next, let's try the Canberra server in Australia. Let's check the IP status first. Again, we see an anonymity level of 70%. Usually I look for at least 90%, so 70% is a bit low for my preference. Now let's run the speed test for this Australian server. We are now connected to Australia. The ping is around 164 ms, which isn't too bad for this distance. The download speed is picking up nicely, reaching over 200 Mbps and then climbing past 300 Mbps. This is quite impressive. I highly recommend keeping the VPN in Smart Mode. This allows the system to automatically switch to the most optimal server for your connection. Manually choosing servers doesn't always yield the best results, as we saw earlier. Now, let's take a look at the Middle Eastern servers, such as Bahrain. Notice the Netflix label under some of these? That means these specific servers are optimized for high-quality streaming on platforms like Netflix. Each server lists the specific services it's best for. Let's refresh the IP checker. I need to complete this human verification real quick. Verified. Now let's look at the Bahrain IP status. Interestingly, the DNS is showing as India and the anonymity level remains at 70%. Based on these details, it looks like these are data center IPs. So let's take a look at how this server's speed performs. Although the video is getting a bit long, I want to show you this because I believe a video is incomplete without full explanations and all the necessary information. As you can see, we're getting quite impressive speeds, hitting nearly 400 megabits per second. That's a very positive result. The upload speed is also looking great, climbing above 200 megabits per second.
These results are quite solid, and overall, I'm happy with this performance. Next, let's test a country in Europe to see what kind of speeds we get there. I'm connecting to a server in Denmark now. It's establishing the connection. To be honest, I'm not particularly impressed with the user interface of this VPN. It could have been much more polished. Compared to AdGuard's interface, which is very well designed, this one feels a bit lacking. That said, the IPs provided are of a decent, moderate quality. However, the anonymity level isn't quite as high as I expected. For those of you who use these IPs for tasks like CPA marketing or other specialized work, I'd appreciate it if you could share your experience in the comments. Your feedback would really help me expand my knowledge on how these IPs perform for those specific use cases. Now, looking at the performance here, the ping is fairly good, but the speed is rising quite slowly. It's not hitting those top-tier speeds right away, instead it's climbing gradually. It's nearing the 100 megabits per second mark, which isn't bad at all and should be sufficient for most tasks. Ultimately, your ISP plays a major role. If you have a high-quality ISP with good bandwidth, like mine, you shouldn't face any problems. However, if your ISP is known for bandwidth fluctuations, you might find this a bit challenging. All right, now let's take a look at Belarus. We are now connected to the Minsk server. Let's check the IP status on hooer.net. Let's see the IP quality for this one. As we can see, it's the same quality, around 70%, which is a moderate anonymity level. The location is verified as Minsk, Belarus. Now let's run a quick speed test to see how it performs. In our next video, I'll try to cover the Android options. Let's take a look. We have connected to the Minsk server via Byfly. I will try to include the Android speed test results at the end of this video. If that is not possible, I will cover the performance and user feedback for the Android application in a future video. Currently, I do not have access to any iOS or Apple devices, so I cannot demonstrate the performance on those platforms at this time. If they become available in the future, I will certainly share those results with you. However, you can expect fairly consistent speeds across different platforms, even though the devices vary. Please note that my router is a 2.4 GHz model and is not particularly powerful, which may affect the connection speeds. With a 2.4 GHz connection, you will generally get a certain level of performance. Now, let's head over to Asia and connect to the Dhaka server. Once connected, we will check our Dhaka IP address to verify the details. It is still reloading. Let's wait a moment. The Dhaka IP has now been detected. The ISP is Xeon and the anonymity level is showing as 70%, which is moderate. Now let's run a speed test to see what kind of performance we get with the Dhaka server. Since I'm physically located in Dhaka, the speeds are exceptionally high. As you can see, using the Xeon ISP, we are reaching bandwidth speeds of well over 400 Mbps. Users connecting to this location can expect excellent performance as demonstrated by these results. We are getting a very solid bandwidth here. Now let's switch to a different country to compare the performance. We will change the server to India, specifically Tripura, Udaipur, and see what the speeds look like. Using Sparklink FiberNet in India, we are also seeing very good speeds. This should give you a clear idea of the local performance you can expect when using PandaVPN. We are getting quite impressive speeds overall. I've tried to cover most of the key locations for you. If I've missed anything, please let me know in the comments and I will try to address it in an improved video. Now let's move on and share the speed test results for the Android version.